minus the whole car rip right there. But hey, welcome to Uptown Tonight. I am your host, Mr. Wayne Stollenfacher, or Discount Tom Cruise, or Tom Brady, or some people call me Steve Wozniak, Steve Jobs. I was called the Apple guy a couple weeks ago. Don't mind that whatsoever. My daughter actually got me an Apple hat for my birthday this weekend. So thank you, Sarah, out there. I'll definitely be showing that off soon, but not tonight, because tonight we have the one, the only, Alana Banana Joos is going to be in the house with us right here. And oh my gosh, this person has so much history behind her, percussion-wise and everything else. I cannot wait to hear this story. I've been waiting for this one for a while, and I'm glad we can connect up there, Alana. It's great. But I got to talk about myself, just for a minute here. And, oh, yes, that's right. We got old Junior right there holding up our Uptown merch. Let's see, we are at the Windbreak tomorrow night. So if you want to buy some Uptown merch, you can go on the road and all other fun stuff. We're at the Windbreak tomorrow if you are in town. And then there's old Zebras. He definitely doesn't look like that anymore, does he? No, he's real tiny. Yeah, and that one. Yeah, and he says support our troops. Yes, I'm a little biased as my son's in the military in Korea as we speak. He actually texted me at 3 a.m. That would have been 5 o'clock p.m. his time. But he was just showing me the Coke cans they have over there. Yeah. Long story. I don't know. I think he's enjoying himself over there. We'll just say that. But let's see. I had 4 shows this weekend, plus a bunch of other stuff. And which one is this? This isn't even from last weekend. Why are you on here? Okay. And this one was from, I can remember. We had the double. Where were we? Dang it.
You were in
I had to solve.
Williston. You were
Yeah,
in
that's it. This was Williston. We were out in Williston, and that was the crowd that we had out there. And we're all a little bit of ways because that was from last year, they had us right directly in the middle of the intersection, and it was 90 degrees, and the sun was just down on us, and there's no covering whatsoever. So this year, they actually put us behind the buildings a little bit, and the crowd decided they didn't want to come out into the sun too much. But, I was getting close to the end of the night. They're getting a little more adventurous, but you can see it went for blocks and blocks. It was a lot of fun out there in Williston. But I was out in Williston for most of the week, and you'll see other pictures of that. And that's us at the Windbreak the following day. So we're back in Fargo the following day, hanging out with Butter and with my little baby Yoda army that's going on there. And then that's on Sunday. I had our Pirate on Cassette, Kunga, came out to play for its very first time. And that was with Keaton Will, and I believe with Jamenke. I'm not entirely sure if that was the group I was playing with or not. You said, come on out and just follow along. And I was sure, let's do this. And it was a lot of fun. It was an hour and a half of basically just avant-garde jazz. We're just going for it. And it was a lot of fun. My hands are still hurting to this day. Thank you, Keaton. And then last week I was hanging out with these guys at the Dakota Drum Camp all the way out in Williston. So we're out there from Sunday to Tuesday. And then you got Mr. Bisbee, who's the one taking the photo there, and Chad Askham, myself, Rob Pesky. Let's see, who's that? That is... I'm missing your name. I should have wrote these down a lot. I should have. But it's from you, Mary, and then the UND guy. I'm just going to go with that right now. I'm just blowing your names right now. Well, I got to hang out with Bisbee for the rest of the time, working on his equipment and stuff out there before our show. And, yeah, that was about it. So I had a whole bunch of stuff going on. And, this is nothing compared to what you're about to hear. So let's get to Alana. Alana Banana, how are we doing? Thank you for being on.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. It should be fun.
Yeah, I've been thinking about this since last winter, and I finally got a hold of you and said, hey, let's get this going. So here we are, the end of July. It was a beautiful day out, actual summer day, mid-90s, sun all day. But, that's what summer's supposed to be like. So let's learn, where are you from originally?
I actually grew up in Wimbledon, which is northwest of Valley City.
Wimbledon.
And you guys played there.
We just played there.
And if I had known, I would have gone there for that event.
We were opening up for Tripwire. That was two weeks ago now.
Yep, the 15th of July.
Yes, that was great. They actually had a forklift drive through our dance floor a couple of times, which I don't get, but whatever. That's how it went out in Wimbledon. But that's cool. I had no idea that's where you were from.
Yep.
So you grew up there the entire time?
I was born in Jamestown, but
Okay.
we have a family farm in Wimbledon, and it's a homestead farm.
Excellent.
So it was homesteaded in 1882,
Even
and I'm
cooler.
proud to say my brother still farms the original homestead.
That is awesome.
Yeah, he's doing a great job.
That is awesome. So you went to school there in Wimbledon, or they had some kind of?
Yeah, I did. I started out on piano, and thankfully my grandparents were really music lovers, and they had a piano.
Okay.
And so my grandmother said, if you girls will take piano lessons, we'll make sure the piano stays on the farm. So we started piano lessons, and I actually became pretty good on the piano. And by the time we got to 5th grade, all the kids were going off to band in the 5th grade, and I was sitting in the 5th grade classroom, bored out of my mind, and I could hear the band practicing. And I told my cousin who was playing in the band, I said, Doug, I really want to be in band, but I said, my dad's too cheap to buy an instrument. So he got the bright idea. He said, well, the school's got drums. Why don't you just play drums? I said, okay, I'll play drums. So the band director gave me a pair of drumsticks and a block of wood. So I say it all started with a block of wood, and he pulled out a 50-cent piece, put it on the block of wood, drew a circle, and he said, you have to play inside that circle. And then he gave me a beginning drum book. And so pretty much self-taught.
Oh, really?
Except every summer I went to music camp, international music camp.
Oh, you're up at the IMC,
Yep.
too. That's
Yep.
awesome as well.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
That changed my life.
I bet.
Yeah.
I've heard that a few times, at least from people that have gone up there. But and we kind of started the same way, is that I wanted to play saxophone, and I know what happened was that they brought out the old price list of how things were going to go, and they had saxophone was like $7,000, and the drum was $400, and I see where my mother was pushing me. I had no interest in actually playing drums whatsoever. I thought that saxophone was really cool, so. Oh, they pushed me into it, and yeah, here we are.
Well, it's kind of funny because I actually started on we rented a sax.
Oh, did you?
And I started on alto sax.
Nice.
In addition to the drums. And we rented it, and at the end of the rental period, my dad goes, you're not practicing enough. I'm not going to buy that damn saxophone. So I stuck to the drums, and then later years went by, and payback, I'm telling you, he had a really great wheat crop. And I had a cooler in the truck. I was driving truck.
Yep.
And I had a cooler in the truck that had beer in it. So I had a drum catalog from probably Marguerite's Music. And he was happy as a clam. I took him a beer. I showed him the drum catalog, pointed to the drum set, and said, Dad, I really want this drum set. He bought me the drum set.
Oh, dude. Nice.
Yep.
Nice way to put it. Great sales, too. That's what it was. Did Marguerite's have catalogs back in the day?
It was probably it was a Rogers catalog, but we bought it at Marguerite's.
Very nice. So
Yeah.
your first kit was a Rogers?
Yep.
Yeah.
Beginning set.
Yes. I still wish I had my Rogers. I'll get into that in a little bit. Maybe you want to go for our JoJo Mayer thing over here. I don't know if you're into DVDs of people showing you how to do hand techniques, but that's all that's about. That was me and Peter Nyblock. We bonded over that DVD a million years ago. Well, it wasn't that long ago, but, And I've been trying to give it away ever since, but the whole thing is you had to name the first brand of drum kit that Peter bought for himself over in Ireland. And so far...
I would have no idea. Maybe Premier, I would guess.
Not Premier.
Huh.
But I don't want to give it away so I'll tell you afterwards. But
Yeah, the interesting thing with growing up during the 60s, which is when I was in school band,
yeah,
we didn't have really anybody to go take lessons from.
No.
And we didn't have TV to learn from. We didn't have videos. We didn't have anything except for record albums.
Yeah.
So I would go buy Buddy Rich albums, put them on my stereo, and try to play along to Channel 1 Suite. Pretty difficult.
It is a high bar to go for, but
Yeah,
it's not
absolutely.
unobtainable.
Yep. And then at music camp, they'd bring people in. But did you ever meet Mitch Markovich?
I know the name.
Rudimental drummer, yeah.
I know the name.
So I did a lot of work in the Wilcoxon book and a lot of
Nice.
rudimental drumming. And then I did a snare drum solo for all of the contests, the competitions.
Yes.
And it was called Tornado.
Yep.
And it had backsticking.
Who
I-
wrote Tornado? That was
I
in
thought
horror.
Markovich wrote it, no?
Maybe. Yeah, that's probably why I know the name.
Yeah.
Yep, 'cause I know the piece. I definitely know the piece.
I tore it up.
Yeah. That's what I like to hear. So who are you taking instruction from up at the IMC? Do you remember?
Yeah, Dr. James Moore from Ohio State was there.
Okay.
And God, it's like a long time ago, Wade. I think
I don't know,
Jim
just to put you on the spot.
Coffin, maybe, but I don't know
Really?
if you know the second guy. I mean, Dr. Moore for sure.
That's awesome. That's really good instruction then, yeah.
But no drum set lessons. It was all percussion ensemble and orchestral.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now up there, they got a whole suite of things going on.
What's funny is Vicki Jenks teaches up there, and she and I went to camp together.
You know Vicky, because she's the one that was telling me the exact same story, that how IMC changed her life.
Yep.
That she started off literally at the bottom. Of the first year she was there, they had a ranking system, and she came in the bottom. And by the time she was done, she was always at the top.
And we competed against each other.
Did you?
Yeah.
I love Vicky. Oh my gosh,
she's
I
great.
love working with her.
We went on
Miss
a
you,
European
Vicky.
tour together.
Nice.
They took a bunch of us kids from the IMC to Europe on tours. So, and Vicky went on that. It was pretty cool.
My
In fact,
IMC
Marcy-
records are missing.
Marcy plays French horn in Lake Agassiz. She was on that tour too.
Oh, serious?
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yep.
It all comes back around. It's everyone thinks it's such a big world out there, and I think it's kind of small. Just how everything just kind of intertwines itself like that. That's really, really cool. I was going to bring up Vicki Jenks to see if you knew who she was.
At that
Yeah.
time, she was Vicki Peterson.
Yes.
Yeah.
Vicki Peterson Jenks, but yeah, she is awesome. So shout out to Vicki. If you ever watch this, that'd be really cool. Love to have her on the podcast too. But
She's
yeah.
amazing.
Yep. I used to drive out to Madison to go watch their percussion ensemble stuff. That's kind of a little vacation-y type thing I took with the kids every year. So that was a lot of fun.
That's cool.
That was always a lot of fun. Okay, so you're at the IMC, then you're playing drums after your little hiatus with the saxophone there. And what made you want to keep going with it? Did you go to college past that?
Well,
or anything?
I always knew I wanted to go to college, and I loved music so much. In fact, I have to give kudos to my high school band director, is living here in Fargo. Her name is Darla Sheldon.
Okay.
And she came in and she inspired so many of us. She was a graduate from Valley City State, and so I decided to go to Valley City State. So I started there, did my first year there, but then Owen Clark was a former teacher also from IMC,
Okay.
and he ended up coming down to Moorhead State to teach at the college. So I transferred from Valley City State to Moorhead State because he was at Moorhead. And so
how many years
they
you
both
spend at
inspired
Valley
me.
City then?
1 year in Valley,
Okay, then you transferred
and
to
then
Moorhead.
3 years at MS.
Okay, I
Yeah.
spent 1 year at MSU. A couple of years past you, but then I went down to Texas from there. But so that's cool. So you graduated from MSU.
I did, yep.
What degree? If we mind to
Bachelor's
ask?
in music, BS in music.
Okay.
Percussion performance.
Percussion performance.
yeah.
Oh, nice. We used to make the jokes, just like, what's more useless than a percussion performance major? And that's almost getting a percussion performance major.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if I had it to do over again, I kind of wish somebody would have coached me and said, look, there may come a time when you're going to want to get a real job
What?
and teach.
It is.
And I thought, I didn't want to be a captive in a school or a university. I wanted to be a freelancer.
Yeah.
But, as I've gotten older, I thought, well, that was a pretty stupid decision to make, although I had a lot of fun along the way. But,
But
it
do you
would be
think
nice to
that-
have, the retirement and the benefits and all that.
Oh, retirement.
So for the younger kids out there, think about that.
The future. But what do you think if you had that, something to fall back on? Would you have been on as many, I'll
No.
say, adventures that you have?
Probably not. No,
Yeah.
No.
That's what I think is going to be.
Kind of a trade-off.
I don't know. 'Cause to me, I even have the little sign up in my bathroom. It's just like life's not about how many breaths you take; it's how many times life takes your breath away. And after I've seen that the first time, I'm from the '90s, yeah, Gen X, woohoo! But I really think experience is way more than comfort, maybe. And I might be just being still, in my mid 40s, still comfortable with everything. Maybe that's where I'm at with that. But that's why I just love having this podcast, just being able to hear all these stories of all this stuff that you guys have done. So you graduate from there, and you're basically on your own at that point.
Well,
so where did you head, or did you have some connections?
My last year at Moorhead State, right around that time, at some point in there, and I can't remember exactly the year, but I joined a local band here in Fargo-Moorhead.
Okay.
That was organized by Ken Littlefield, and it was called Crimson and Clover.
I've heard the name.
Top 40,
yes,
club band, and we did a lot of country. We did rock, and it was a very good group, and I really learned a lot playing in that band. And then when that band started to kind of break apart, because Ken had a full-time career as an insurance agent, and so there came a time when he had to focus on his business and not so much on playing. So the band kind of started to drift apart. And right around that time, I thought, you know what, I'm going to go down and check out this band at the Holiday Inn. I don't know which Holiday Inn it was at, but one of the Holiday Inns. And the group from Minneapolis came in to play one night. And so after they were done, I went up to them and I gave them my card. I said, hey, if you ever need a drummer, give me a call. Well, I had a day gig somewhere working, and the phone rang one day, and I picked it up, and they said, would you like to go on a USO tour with us? We need a drummer. I said, well, why can't you take whatever his name was? And they said, well, he's from Norway, and he can't go because he's not a U.S. citizen. They won't let somebody go on the USO unless they're an American citizen.
Oh, interesting.
So I said, I'll go.
Yeah, oh my God.
Wow. They flew us to Okinawa and to Japan and then South Korea and Okinawa.
Where my son is now.
We played for all the troops at the different bases in South Korea and in Okinawa also.
Nice. So that's top 40 stuff you were playing?
Yeah.
Okay, so it wasn't the ceremonial things, just...
No, it's top 40.
That's awesome. Wow, that's a way to get out of the nest. Holy.
Yeah, so I went on that, and then when I came back, the band was from Minneapolis, so we flew back into Minneapolis, and I thought, okay, it's either go home to the farm or figure something else out. And I had already had a taste of the wild, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I'm like, I'm not going back to the farm. So I went to the agent that booked us on the USO tour, and I said, hey, Bernie, I said, you got any gigs for me? He said, yeah, I do. And so he booked me with a trio. And it's kind of a funny story because I'm being politically incorrect. A skinny saxophone player that could barely lift his saxophone, and a blind keyboard player with a Hammond B3. I mean, what the hell? And so I went on the road with them, and guess who had to help unload the Hammond? Me.
Well, yes.
But it was a pretty good group. It was just a little dinner club, supper club gig, mellow music, with sax and keyboard and a little bit of singing, but it was a good group. And so we did that, and we toured steakhouses in Kansas and Iowa.
Okay, so you just stayed around the Midwest area.
Yeah, that's where we started. And then one night we were booked at Spielman's Steakhouse in Cherokee, Iowa. And we found out that on a Monday night there was a dinner show coming in. And that was Dick Van Dyke's brother, Jerry, came in to do a show with his band.
Oh.
And he didn't carry drummers with him. He would hire a different drummer every town he went to. So they said, since you're playing drums with a group, we need you to play drums with Van Dyke. I said, okay, cool.
What?
So...
Oh, that's just... I don't know if that's the right place at the right time, or that was just great preparation.
Dr. John.
Dr. John.
Right place, right time. But, Van Dyke standing at the bar after our rehearsal being interviewed by the local newspaper guy, and so I walked up and hung out with him, and I said, Jerry, how come you don't have a drummer in your band? He goes, he says, I just hire somebody in every town I go to. And I said, well, why don't you hire me? I'll go on the road with you. And so he said, okay, kid, I'll give you $175 a week. You have to pay your own gas and your own motel. You got to remember this is 1974.
Okay.
So a big difference in
Yeah,
money.
big time.
So, I made it work and went on the road. And the bad part is it was during the gas crisis, where gas rationing.
Yes.
And you had to be really careful that you didn't run out of gas. When you're on the road, you had to really monitor your gas because you could only buy gas on certain days with your license plate. I don't know if that's the way it was here, but I know that's what happened in California.
That was
And if
before my
even
time, but
number
this
or
is
an odd
interesting.
number, you had to could only buy gas depending on your license plate number.
Yep, and those cars weren't too friendly with gas either.
No, and I
Yeah.
had a big 8-cylinder Chevy Malibu station wagon.
Yeah.
Gas guzzler. But, I made it and did that. And then he ended up going on more tours in the Midwest. And so I joined up with him. We played Indiana, Ohio, went to his and Dick Van Dyke's childhood home, got to see their home. And we were at the Brown Derby in Akron doing a show. All of a sudden, this streaker runs across the stage, butt naked, no clothes, nothing on. Because in the 70s, streaking was real popular. So I thought, well, what am I going to do? Van Dyke's right in the middle of a comedy routine. So the streaker runs across the stage, and I go, brrr, big drum roll on the tom-tom and a cymbal crash. And the audience cracks up. I'm like, well, you got to go with the show, right?
Did you get a bonus that night?
No.
What? Oh.
Nope. But that was memorable.
Yeah. Those are the stories you do remember.
Exactly.
That's sweet. So how long does this go on for? It sounds like it went on for at least a year, 2?
We were on the road for about 2-3 months, and then
Okay.
he had a gig out at Harrah's Casino in Reno and Lake Tahoe.
Gotcha.
And we were doing like the headline. We were the headliner in the main show, not the main showroom. The Smothers Brothers were in the main showroom, but we were in the main lounge act, in the big lounge.
Bring me back all to the Nick at Night stuff. Yep. I grew
Yeah,
up with.
so that was pretty cool. And so I think we did 3 or 4 shows every night, like a 7:30, a 10:30. I know we did like about a 2:30 or 3:30 in the morning show.
Wow.
And then I'd get home to my rented room or whatever, hotel room, motel, 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, go to sleep, and then,
Get up and do
get
it
up
all.
and do it all over again the next day. It's pretty wild.
How long did that last?
Couple of months.
Couple of months?
And then I found out that he was going to go back east, and he was letting the band go because he didn't have any more gigs lined up for them. So everybody split and did their own thing. And another group that was doing the casino there with us, they were headed to Orange County in L.A. area, so down by Disneyland. And so they said they were going to Orange County to perform. And I thought, you know what, maybe I'll just drive into L.A. and see what happens.
Yeah.
And one of the guys said, well, if you're going to go into California, you better buy a gun.
Really? Wow. That's all different nowadays, yeah.
But, so, I drove into Hollywood with my car loaded down with drums, my clothes, a stereo, and driving down the freeway headed into Hollywood. And it's so smoggy in the 70s.
I was going to say.
You could cut it with a knife. And so I see this big cloud roll across the freeway. I'm like, oh my God, what is that? It was smog. I mean, literally, it was moving.
Moving. Oh, wow.
I'm like, holy crap. So I drove into Hollywood, and I thought, well, I'm in the union here in Fargo. And so I went to the Musicians Union.
Okay.
And got in there and told them I wanted to find out what gigs would be available. Because they always had lists of gigs for people. But they wouldn't help me because it wasn't local.
Oh, okay.
So this one guy is standing there, and he heard me talking, and he goes, you know what? He goes, why don't you go to the Musicians Contact Service on Sunset Boulevard and put your name in? And you can do that, and you'll get gigs from that. So I went to Sunset Boulevard, Musicians Contact Service, and you would go and fill out a form with your name, contact information, and, the kind of music you were experienced playing and stuff. And they put it in a big binder. So it's kind of like Craigslist in a binder,
Yeah.
Or so all of the drummers and singers and guitar players, everybody, there was a section in the book for each instrument. And then if bands wanted gigs, they'd put their band information in and what kind of gigs they would be good at. And then sometimes people would come in if they were having a wedding. They'd look through the book and pick out groups that they'd maybe want to interview for
nice, like a catalog
gigs.
type thing, yeah.
So I was signed up there at Musicians Contact Service, and I'd go and look in the book and pick out different bands to go audition for, and started auditioning for groups. And then I got hired for a group that actually was really a lot of fun. The bass player was super funky, really laid back. In fact, we did that Dr. John song. We did a lot of Stevie Wonder, a lot of funk, 70s funk. Very cool. And it was a great experience playing with them. And then I came back to North Dakota, gathered up all my stuff, and moved out to California permanently.
Oh, serious?
Yep.
Okay.
I thought,
so that group was the thing that was the catalyst that got you out there.
Right.
Do you remember the name of that group at all?
Bama Church.
Bama Church.
Like Alabama, but just Bama Church.
Bama Church. Kind of like Slamabama around here, but Bama Church.
Yeah, they were pretty good.
Shout out to you guys, Slamabama. Yeah, we opened for them on Friday.
Yeah,
That's
so
cool.
did that, and then hooked up with a couple of girls from Nebraska, and we rented an apartment in South Pasadena. And then I was sitting around during the daytime, and I was not the kind of person just to sit around. So I thought, you know what, I'm really bored. So I went and checked out colleges. So I went to USC, met with Kenny Watson, who was a percussion teacher there. And then it was so expensive at USC.
That's what they say, yeah.
Oh, my God. I think, like, one class was, like, $400 a unit or something, and this is in the 70s. I thought, there's no way I'm going to pay that kind of money to take an English class, like $1,200 or something ridiculous.
Yeah.
And so I had done a lot of reading in Percussive Arts Society, when I was at music camp and everything, because
Exactly.
Dr. Moore was really involved in PAS.
Yep.
And so I had all the PAS books and stuff, and I knew that Cal State Northridge was really big involved with Percussive Arts Society. So I went and interviewed the music department at Cal State Northridge, and Joel Leach was the percussion teacher there and very involved in PAS. So I decided to go there and work on my master's, so that I'd have something to do besides just playing a band at night.
And what's wrong with that?
Well, it's okay, but sitting around all day long, and I was like, oh, there's got to be more.
So you have your master's degree as well, huh? I did not know that. Not even a clue on that part, but that's cool. So you got that from there.
Cal State Northridge, yeah.
Cal State Northridge. I got to try to remember that. That's a lot to remember, though. Cal State Northridge.
That's where we had the big earthquake in 1994 was in Northridge.
Okay.
Huge.
And you were there?
I was there.
Oh, okay. We'll have to get to that when we get there.
It's kind of like the Elvis song, All Shook Up.
So cool. So were you playing with the same band then at the time? The Bama...
No, that actually, after I moved to California, that ended for me, and I can't remember who I played with a lot of different groups. One group, we ended up getting a gig all summer at Catalina Island. We went over there.
Oh, nice.
Played in a bar over there for the whole summer. That was pretty cool.
That would be.
Yeah.
So did you have to take a boat there every day?
No, we would rent, like, a place to stay.
Oh, and you just stayed on the island?
We stayed on the island, yeah.
Oh, wow. That's even cooler yet.
Yep.
Whoa. I don't know. I've been to the ocean a couple of times, and I know that, my soul didn't ever want to leave. It just wanted to stay on that beach. So I kind of think that I wasn't born near that, because I would have been one of those beach bums. I know I would have.
I think you would have.
Yeah.
Surfer dude.
It was a groove I really liked. I'll just say that. Oh, so that's cool. So you're Catalina and all that. So what did you do after that? You didn't play in bands the entire time, did you? Or
Well, almost every year for like probably 15, 20 years, I was playing in a band all the time.
okay.
And I had my own band, several different groups that I put together and would book. I was a booking agent, so I book us in clubs. And you know what was really cool about the late 70s? It's right before right when disco came out.
Yep.
You know, Play That Funky Music, Gloria Gaynor, all of the disco hits that came out, Kool and the Gang, all of that. And we would play in clubs that were dance clubs. I don't remember any of them being here in Fargo, but in California, it was a huge dance floor, and everybody was like, it's like watching Dick Clark or something like that. You know, you got the hot guys, the hot chicks, the dance floor's full of people dancing, you know, the most outrageous clothes, hair. You know, it was pretty wild.
All that.
And, you know, everybody's like pumping the music. And you know what it's like to play drums when you've got a full dance floor.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
it's a rush.
Yes.
It's a rush.
It's electric as all get out. Yes.
So I did that 6 nights a week for years.
Jealousy on this side. I just
Yeah.
want to play 6 nights a week. That's what I keep asking about. Like, how is that was there and how is that sustainable? And yeah, I have my own opinions on why that's all crashing down and everything else. But, you know.
Well, we did a lot of clubs down around Disneyland, and so they had tourists and
Yes.
locals, you know, but I was a booking agent, so I would get the gig from the, well, not the booking agent for the club, but I booked the band. So I would get the gig from the agency that
Yep.
had the contract with the club and negotiate the pay and everything and hire the musicians. But 6 nights a week, yep. And I don't remember back then how much we made, but I would say everybody probably walked away with, I want to say $250, $300 a week, maybe.
It's pretty much what they get now.
Yeah.
Well, ain't that bad. I kid. But that's good money. That's early 80s you're talking about, right? Late 70s?
Late 70s, yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So I had a lot of my own bands and played with other people's bands that booked me as a drummer. So kind of kept busy between them and my groups. I worked constantly for years.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah. And, you know, everybody always asks, oh, did you play in an all-girl band? I'm like, no. I did. I sent you one picture of that one girl group, but
Okay.
they wanted a drummer, and so I signed up to play with them. But they were doing original music and stuff, but they were called the Skirts, which isn't really my style, and they would wear slips.
Yep.
You know, or like underwear slips.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I was never into that kind of scene, you know, so it's like I just was
Didn't need to be.
myself, you know.
Yeah.
But I didn't really fit in with that group, so I mostly played with guy bands, and then we'd have a female vocalist.
So that's cool. So how long did that go for? That had to go into the 80s for some period, right?
Yeah, into the 80s. And then there was another group that I was in called Maggi, Maggi.
Okay.
And that was an original rock group. And we cut an album.
Originals even.
Yeah.
Oh.
We cut
This
an
is
album,
getting
and the
way-
2 brothers were leaders of the group, and they wrote all the songs.
Okay.
But, you know, I got kind of tired of the Hollywood thing. It's like, oh, yeah, hey, man, you know, we got somebody from such and such record album companies coming out to see the band play, and they might sign us. You know, it's all this lip service, right?
Of course.
So you get all jazzed up because some guy's going to be there, might, you know, sign the band onto their label or something, and it's all smoke, you know. And some people are fortunate enough to make it, but it's a lot of work, you know, trying to get signed to a record deal. And
Well, I
I
bet.
kind of lost my patience after a while. I'm like, you know, I'm out of here. It's either something happens or I'm going to go find something else to do.
Okay, so you cut a record with these people, right?
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Okay. Where'd you record at? Do you remember?
I don't remember the studio, but it's in Hollywood somewhere.
Somewhere in Hollywood.
Yeah.
But so you can say that. That's part of the resume. That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, and we played in clubs like the Troubadour. Another club that was real big, of course, was a whiskey.
Yes.
I don't think we did the whiskey, but we did Madame Wong's West, which was another club kind of like the Troubadour.
Okay.
So those kinds of places. Hollywood in the 80s, yeah.
Oh, man. That would have been, it'd been a trip.
And punk was starting to come out then.
Yes, exactly. And all the metal scene is starting to bloom out of there, too, so.
Big hair.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Just to be in there. Ah. I am jealous. I really am.
You would have liked it. It's pretty cool.
Interesting just to see it live.
Yeah, and somewhere around that time, I started my own entertainment company. I was playing with another group, and I thought, I can do this. I can book acts instead of just sitting around waiting for somebody to call me. So I started my own entertainment agency. So I would book bands, DJs, all kinds of entertainers for parties, from psychics to jugglers, stilt walkers, caricature artists,
Very cool.
Animal acts like elephants, monkeys, all that kind of stuff.
Wow.
Whatever anybody asked for, I could get. And then I bought a company called Live Wires, which was the singing telegram company in California. That singing telegrams were really popular in the early, in the 80s. So I bought that company, and we booked singing telegrams. And they were pretty fun, because people would go out for somebody's birthday party in an office. They bust in costume, start singing to them, and take a bouquet of balloons. That was super popular at the time.
I know that happened. We used to do stuff like that in high school a little bit, but I was just goofing on the teachers and stuff there.
Yeah.
But I suppose you see it in movies and everything else too. So that was you guys.
Yeah, and it's pretty different, because back here is really different than L.A.
Oh, I bet.
So
I bet. That's one place I still have yet to go, and I really, really, it's on my list. I got to get there at some point. So I don't know, this year is going to be the year, but you never know.
Yeah, it was kind of cool. I did a couple of parties. One party, all of the celebrities would have personal assistants working for them. So usually it was the personal assistant who would call.
Yep.
But I got called once to do a party for Tom Petty's daughter for her birthday.
Oh,
and so, he showed up at the party, so that was kind of cool. So I got to meet him. But we decorated this whole room with this psychedelic decor and really crazy, huge 3-foot balloons, and had a DJ and all kinds of cool stuff for the kids to do. And so I did that. Another time I got a call from Penny Marshall's personal assistant, and she and Carrie Fisher were best friends.
What?
And in
Princess Leia?
Hollywood Hills,
Yeah.
So they called, and they had a joint birthday party. And so I booked the first gig for myself as a DJ.
I'm just bowing my head over here.
Yeah.
Like, oh, my God.
So I'm playing, and I'm looking, and there's Barbra Streisand.
Oh,
There's Frank Zappa.
What?
Yep.
Okay.
All the celebrities, Hollywood celebrities, were there.
I don't know if I want to talk to you.
Bette Midler.
Frank Zappa.
Sitting right here, like this crazy thing right here. Sitting right next
child.
to me was David Bowie. And he looks at me, and I'm playing music, and he looked at me, and he says, "Hey, man," he goes, play some Jagger. I'm like, okay, I'll play some Jagger. Yeah, it was a trip. It was so surreal. The whole backyard was full of the most famous people in the world right there.
Man. I have no words for you here. This is...
It's in the past, and
yeah, but still.
The hard thing is moving back here and everything that I've done, and it's like I feel like I have nothing to look forward to. You know what I mean? So
yes,
I
can see that.
It's pretty weird. So it's pretty weird. And I'm like, oh. So when I moved back here, I thought I need an income, so I got an insurance license. So I sell insurance to make money. But the music industry, I don't know. I mean, you're working, but I don't see there's that much work here for
that's a whole thing
freelancers
in itself. Yeah, is that they talk about that there's a lot of bands that do come up here because the I think it's just the atmosphere and the pay is where it needs to be for working musicians, unless down they say by Nashville and all that, it's just so cutthroat that it's really hard to even make it go. And again, I'm just speculating here, guys. That's hearsay, but that's what they say around. That's up here is everyone's pretty nice to each other. There's a lot of camaraderie with the bands that are working and all that other fun stuff. But yeah, coming from what you're just talking about, no, this is snooze fest. So I can see that one bit. But isn't it a little more relaxing just to be around here? You don't have doesn't move so fast, or is that kind of
well, yeah, but I'm actually honestly kind of bored.
Imagine that. Yeah,
really. I don't want to be dissing Fargo, but boy, when you're used to being in the fast lane all the time and then you move back, it's kind of hard.
The midst of LA.
Because I was getting called I did tons of operas. I was in a lot of orchestras, pit orchestras, musical theater. I did tons and tons of musical theater, and I want to do that here in Fargo, but it's such a small niche here.
Yeah, that you have to be in the circles for them to get called.
And I'm not in the circle.
Not yet. Not yet. Don't put yourself out there just yet.
I've got all the gear. Trust me.
Oh yeah, we should show the gear here.
Okay, so in the score of Les Mis for percussion, they call for a trine. It's Trine. Okay, so
for Les Mis,
you can't find it. I mean, maybe you can, but I couldn't find it anywhere except this one guy in England makes them because he invented the instrument, and it's for Les Mis, and there's a couple of parts in there where it calls for you to hit a trine. And it's pretty cool when you hit it with something metallic.
Well, just to make these crazy sounds. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then I did another concert with, I don't know if you guys know who she is, Jackie Vanko. She's kind of like one of those young vocalists that was popular either at like one of the singing shows like America's Got Talent or something like that. I can't remember where she got her start, but she became really big because she was like one of those young vocalists that had a super fantastic voice. And so she was doing shows. And so one of her charts called for a nipple gong.
Yep.
Well, I have a lot of gongs that I bought when I was in Korea, but I didn't have a nipple gong. So, I went out and bought a nipple gong. So it's a couple $100.
Yep.
So I do the show, and there's that one note, boing. And I get home, and I'm like, I spent $200 on one frickin' note. One note, $200.
Welcome to percussion.
It's crazy.
That's the whole thing. Well, let's get back to California because obviously something happened there that brought you back to North Dakota once again. As you're out there, you're doing your thing. I know we were talking at the Lake Agassiz Wind Symphony that you are part of is it an opera or something?
Oh,
I know I'm blowing this.
Yeah, it was a symphony.
Symphony, that's it.
Yeah, it was a symphony. I got involved when I lived in the San Fernando Valley area for years in Northridge, and then decided to sell my house. And my sister and I were working together at the time in the company, and we decided to stop doing the entertainment business because it was intense. I mean, I was doing so many parties, Beverly Hills and L.A.,
and they're not going to take anything below top notch. Yeah,
it was pretty intense, and I was working constantly, planning events, parties, decorating, doing balloon decor, centerpieces, all different kinds of things for these huge bar mitzvahs and weddings, and just kind of was getting burned out. So we decided to move So we moved to Palm Springs, which is a different kind of environment than LA. I mean, it's chill, still a chill factor. It's super hot, but it's definitely got a low-key vibe, right?
Yeah.
So we moved to Palm Springs, and I lived there for 8 years. But when I was there, I started getting involved. I was, again, bored, like I'm kind of like now.
Yep.
And I told my sister, I said, I've lost my identity, because I wasn't doing the things I was doing before. And so I found a local kind of concert band to join and a local symphony to join. So I joined that group. Then I joined a group in Temecula. And then I liked that group so much that I got involved on the board of directors. I started helping them with marketing. Then I became president of the board. Then I became the executive director and the artistic director. So I was doing that up until COVID.
I think you're just a glutton for punishment. I think that's what you're looking for here.
I was kind of like a workaholic.
Yeah, exactly.
And the last big concert we did actually featured a Barbra Streisand tribute artist with the symphony. So I would get all the symphony charts arranged, for full orchestra and the Streisand. It was fantastic. We did Streisand, Neil Diamond, and we also did Frank Sinatra and Streisand. So we did several big concerts like that with a full symphony. And I brought in famous rockers that were from the heavy metal groups. Carmine Appice.
Yep.
Well, Vinny is his brother. So these were all of Vinny's friends.
Okay.
Vinny's the drummer too. And so we did a Rock Legends concert and did all kinds of amazing rock pieces. Some Ozzy Osbourne. We did, I can't even remember, Pink Floyd, but with a full symphony orchestra and a rock band.
And a rock band connected to
it.
It
was
amazing. They kind of do that around here.
That would go over really well here.
Yeah, they use, I think, post-traumatic.
Yeah, they kind of do that. I haven't seen
the
it,
FM
but
Symphony,
yeah, it's pretty cool. So I did that, and then February 20th of 2020 was the last concert, and then it was COVID. And everything shut down.
Everything did, yeah.
In California politics, Governor Newsom drove me nuts. And, everything was shutting down. People were freaked out. I was teaching at a charter school and teaching bucket drumming to little beginning kids, like elementary school kids would learn bucket drumming.
Yeah, fun.
And so I was doing that, but they shut that down because of COVID. And then the symphony couldn't do any more concerts. And so I'm like, everything shut down. And so we decided we were going to come back here because our brother is back here. So we moved
back
to Fargo, yeah.
Gotcha. So you're living in Fargo right now?
He's on the farm in Wimbledon, and I'm in Fargo.
Okay.
Yeah. Once in a while, he'll let me in the combine.
There isn't much you do in a combine anymore, is there?
Yeah,
we were commenting on that last weekend.
Well, no, you've got to pay attention,
Like the GPS system kind of runs the entire thing.
No? Well, yeah, if you have it set up for GPS.
Okay.
Some of his tractors are GPS, but the combine's not GPS.
Oh, really? Okay.
No. But you have to know what you're doing because you can mess up. The worst, as everybody knows, the worst thing you can do is not pay attention to the machine. So a lot of these guys have these young guys working on the farm, and they're plugged into their headphones, and their music's jamming.
Oh, yeah.
So if they get a slug in the machine or something or whatever, or they plug up, they burn things up. They burn belts. They ruin clutches. They ruin the gears. But I try to be really careful. But once in a while, if he gets really desperate, he'll let me combine. Gets down to the wire, and it's October, and the snow's starting to fly.
Can you come in, bail me out?
Exactly. I love driving the tractor in the combine.
Oh, I bet it's satisfying.
I love it, yeah. It's great.
Seeing what you got, everything accomplished. No, that's beautiful. How'd you get hooked up with the Wind Symphony then? You just looking around for something?
Yeah, I just went looking around to see what was available and saw it online and started researching and connected that way. Excuse me. The one thing that we kind of missed is my China tour.
We did. We completely missed that. But you realize we've been going for 50 minutes straight here?
You said it goes fast.
It does go extremely
I'm getting
fast.
dry.
So I'm going to make you hold on to that. I got to get to
Okay.
our weekend report here. So, Cito, we miss you, man. We have yet to touch any of your photos, other than I put one up there real quick. But here we go, the Uptown report. We got Uptown at the Windbreak. That's that band Uptown's going to be playing tomorrow night. We'll be hitting the stage, hanging out with Butter and all them guys. It's going to be a good time. Ladies' night tomorrow night at the Windbreak. And then Face for Radio on Friday, 2 weeks' notice. We hit the stage out there on Saturday 29th at the Shooting Star Casino. We have Up South going to be out there Friday and Saturday, both 20th and 29th. And then the TAC Mona Jr. is going on tomorrow night all the way through Saturday. So, again, it's good seeing that all the drama and stuff is coming back and coming alive. I just love it. And we just want to keep it going. Downtown Acoustic Corner on Wednesday, happening right as we probably speak. Kyle Covey's at Murphy's Pub, and it's only a couple blocks away from here. And on Thursday, tomorrow night, we have Pat, Jake, and Dakota Kate. I love how that flows at Camp Lone Tree on the group at 7:01. Then we have Chloe Marie at the Spicy Pie in West Fargo, Michael Pink at the Silver Spike, Jim White, Sweet Shots, Brianna Hebling, and Colby Tangent is going to be at Twin Peaks. And Doug Thompson at Detroit Mountain, and Matt Ockery at the Swing Barrel. Friday, nothing's happening that I could find. And then on Saturday, we have Rachel Iorino and Michael Morse going to be at the Dilworth Community Centers. I think it's Dilworth, what do they call it? Loco Days is happening this weekend. I believe that's what's going on. And then we have downtown. We're at Open Mic Night with Travis Nieros next Monday, the 31st. At Celery, we have Open Mic Night with Mark Wade Belcher happening right as we speak. So you're looking to tighten up that 2 minutes of stand-up. Yeah, that's the time to be, or place to be, I should say. Hang out with old Mark Wade. Then we have Ellie Hino and Tito Molanando. I'm going to say that. If I slaughtered it, I am sorry. Happening Friday and Saturday. Some more stand-up happening out there at the Cellar. And then we have Jazz Night next Monday, the 31st, at the Side Street. Tailgaters Retrolution hitting the stage tomorrow night. And then we have the Fargo Brewing Company, Eric Longnecker and Tom Peckskamp. They'll be hitting the stage out there at the Fargo Brewing Company on Thursday, 27th. That's where I got to play with those pesky avant-garde guys. That's the first time I ever played at the Fargo Brewing Company. It was kind of fun. We're out back, and they had a whole big setup of arts and crafts and all that other fun stuff. So it was a good time. And Sicky's Bar, Pray for Rain's happening right now as we speak. And Cowboy Jacks and Jay Stevenson Open Mic Night on Sunday, and that goes between 6 and 10. So you got good old friends. Jay's actually the guy that owns this couch that's down here. He used to live with me a long time ago. Dempsey's, you have Open Mic Night with Gina Powers tomorrow night, and then Semi-Charmed Heroes on Friday. At the Aquarium, we have Earth Groans by the Thousands, Baltic the Boardwalk, and Hostile Harmony on Thursday, 27th. The Wicked Bees. And we had Clyde, who used to actually filled in with us at the Windbreak last Friday. Clyde, hell of a bass player. Loved it. Loved having him out there. Thank you, Clyde, and thank you for being you, Clyde. So Wicked Bees happening and a little ska action on Friday, 28th. And then we have DJ, what was that? Cassandra 3000 on Saturday, 29th. And we have the Alibi Lounge Open Mic Night tomorrow night, Thursday, 27th. And the Blarney Stone Quick 56 out there tomorrow, Thursday, 27th. And Brian Bolinsky on Sunday, 30th. The Troll Lounge, we have Looping Color happening on Friday. Dylan Sperlin on Saturday, and then a Bluegrass Jam next Tuesday, the 1st of August. Can you believe it's almost August already? Man, this time is going way too fast. Nothing's happening this weekend. I think something's going on next weekend. The Laughing Sun Brewing Company in Bismarck, Mandan area, our favorite brewing company in Bismarck, Mandan area. We have Aaron Simmons on Thursday, 27th. We have Jesse Faye Band on Friday, the 28th. Wild Horses on Sunday, the 30th. The Biz Band, Little Big Band, on Monday, the 31st. Then Brian Bolinsky. Oh, this guy's getting around on Tuesday, the 1st. And then we're at Zorba's up in Park Rapids at Uptown Band again, playing on Friday, the 28th. I can't wait because my birthday's on the 29th, the very next day. We don't even have a show that night, so I actually get to hang out. And they have this pizza that they always give to us. And I'm blowing the name of it. It has peanut butter and jalapenos and all this. It's just delicious. And being in the medical state I'm in, I'm not supposed to be eating that stuff, but I'm going to. I don't care what you say. Runestone Rebellion on Saturday, 29th. And that's all we have for you this week. So let's get back to Alana and the China trip. What is happening with all that? So I don't even know how to begin. Where you come from and how did that even come into play in the midst of all that? You're doing so much stuff.
Well, I was doing a lot of booking, and I did a lot of contracting. I would contract musicians for different shows,
Yeah.
for the symphony, for musical theater, for opera. And so people knew who I was, and they knew I played percussion. So the guys that ran one of the theaters in San Bernardino called the California Theater, I did a lot of musical theater there, and they called me once and they said, you know what, we're going to send a group to China on tour. Would you put the band together for that? And I said, sure. So I put a small group together, and it was for a tap dance group that they would tap dance with costumes. And I don't know if you guys ever saw Stomp up here, but Stomp was a big national touring group that
Yep.
did tap dance productions, and pretty amazing stuff, actually. Theatrical tap dancing, but it was contemporary, not old-fashioned. And so they had all this routine done, and so we were doing mostly like techno, club music, rock music.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
What kind of band did you put together for that?
Actually, very different. I put together keyboards
Okay.
with a keyboard bass, a guitarist, and then an electric violin. And
Wasn't Mark Woods, was it?
And then no, and then I was on drums.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. And so we did that show, and they booked us in 16 different cities throughout China.
Oh my gosh.
And the theaters there, they were unbelievable. If you've ever seen pictures of the Disney Concert Hall in downtown LA, but they were huge, massive theaters. And China would blow your mind because it's very advanced, actually. I mean, the Orient or the Asia is really unique because one corner you could have like the poorest people in the world.
Yep.
With a dirt floor in their shack. And then you could go down the street and it's a high rise, the most modern building that you've ever seen. It's really an interesting juxtaposition of cultures.
Interesting.
But the theaters were absolutely amazing. And so we did huge shows, and they flew us or took us by train or by bus. One unique experience, one morning it was the train, everything, the beds are really hard in China. Asians love to sleep on firm mattresses.
And good for them.
I wouldn't
yes.
even call it a mattress. My back hurt so bad I couldn't sleep, so I was up at like 4:30 in the morning, went to the dining car, sitting there with my couple of friends having some tea, and this older woman came by with a baby. And she tried to give me the baby, and I'm like, no. I looked at my friends like, what is this woman doing? I'm like, I'm not going to touch the kid because I don't want to get locked up in jail somewhere. You never know when you go over there. If you do something stupid, you're going to end up there for, in jail or killed or whatever. But she tried to pawn off this kid on me. So I finally found out what car they were in. So later I went to one of our interpreters and I said, and his name was Edison, believe it or not.
Okay.
I said, Edison, I think this woman is trying to sell me a baby. And he's like, no. I said, yeah. I said, come to the car with me. So I went to the car, and sure enough, she wanted $3,000 for this baby boy. It was a boy, not a girl.
Oh.
And she even gave me their number in case I changed my mind and would want to buy a baby in the future. I'm like, this is crazy, insane.
Yeah.
And it's the grandmother was trying to sell the kid out from underneath the mother,
Oh.
because they needed money. They were moving to another town from the country. They needed money to be able to live, so they're going to sell the baby. Like, that's insane. And the interpreter said, even if you got the kid, you wouldn't be able to get him out of the country.
I was thinking that. I was like, how would you get out?
What am I going to do with a kid, Put him in a drum case.
Terrible.
Yeah. So that
Terrible
was a trip. That trip literally was a trip.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Do you remember what years that was?
About 2010.
2000. Okay. That wasn't that long ago. No.
We were on tour for 2.5 months in the middle of winter.
The middle of winter. So was it cold there then, or is it?
Yes.
Okay. Do you get to take any of those bullet trains or whatever? Or is it just a
No,
regular
I
stuff?
have been on bullet trains, but not
Okay.
not in China. We did a train, but not a bullet train.
Okay.
Yeah,
Just wondering, 'cause
we
that
went
was
to
one
the
of the things
Great
they talked-
Wall.
Oh, that would have been a trip too. Just to see that.
China's
Yeah.
very smoggy
Okay.
because they burn a lot of coal. So
Yeah.
it was so bad.
Anything like LA
Worse.
late 70s?
Worse. Worse.
Whoa, okay. Okay. Well, that's
Really
that's
bad.
not good, but yeah, it's reality.
Yep.
It's what it is.
So, that was interesting. I've had some fun experiences and hoping to do a few more before I kick the bucket.
Well, it sounds like you know how to get things going and get things started. And that takes a motor. And I really admire someone with a motor. 'Cause I know.
I
know-
spend a lot of time thinking about what am I going to do for the next chapter.
Yeah, exactly.
I haven't come up with an idea yet. Racking my brain.
It's North Dakota. There's a lot of money out there. You just got to know where to look for it. That's basically it.
Well, it's like starting over,
God, I can about imagine.
you know.
About imagine.
I mean, I had a network of thousands of people,
Yep.
and now I'm completely starting over from scratch and building a new network and trying to figure out who's who and who does what
Yes.
and what people like and what they don't like, So I'm not quite sure yet where I'm going to end up, but, for now I'm doing the insurance thing. It pays the bills. I work for AAA in Fargo, and
There you
it's a great company. It's secure, and I get to help people all day long, so that's pretty cool.
go. There you go.
Yep.
There you go. But we have been going for over an hour already.
You can kick me out.
Alana, I want to know more, but we gotta
Pretty
call it
much
quits
ran-
at some
ran
point
the
here.
gamut,
We're
I
just
think.
gonna have to bring you back on. Just put these photos. We didn't even touch the photos, much less that. And I know that those bring out a whole lot of old memories and everything else, stuff that you probably you'll think about on your drive home or whatever else. But no, thank you for having you on. But we got to get to a little juvenile destruction here, and
That's
then
okay. Thank
and
you.
Then we'll just have to wrap it on up here. But you ready for this week's Off the Roof? I think it's been recycled a few times, but here we go. Off the Roof.
No.
Yep, it's the same one. I'm thinking I'm grabbing a different one, and I can grab. Alana's over here probably thinking, okay, what's the gist of breaking stuff off the roof?
No, I was thinking about the gig when I did the gig on the roof of a high-rise in L.A.
Yeah, here we go. See how the triggers these
On
things?
a helicopter ride.
In a helicopter what? In a helicopter ride?
Helicopter pad.
Oh, on a helicopter pad.
33 stories up.
Woo!
I was just going to ask if
Breaking stuff? Because it's fun. That's the whole point. But I'll explain to you the story because there is an explanation for all this craziness. Well, that just gets rid of the primal instinct. It's all about. I grew up in this house from back in the day. I bought it from my dad a million years ago. He lives on a farmstead, and again, I'm looking for a farmstead out in North Dakota. So if you have one, or you know one, or someone that's selling something, let me know. It's got to be North Dakota though, and that's where I'd like to head on out from here. But of course, we'd have all the raging parties that would happen at some point, and somebody would get up on the roof, and we'd be throwing just random electronics off the roof, just watch it explode on the driveway. Why? Because it was fun, and it was the 90s. Hey, that's what we did back then to entertain ourselves. So I'm just keeping the tradition alive by doing that. So if you want something that you want to see exploded on my driveway, throw it in my yard, let me know. We'll come pick it up, whatever you want to do, and all that fun stuff. So we're going to wrap it on up here. Thank you again for being on. A fascinating story, and you can already tell there's much more to tell here that I'm going to guess you're just going to be driving. I was like, I missed this, I missed that, but there is time.
I'm sure everybody's bored by now.
Oh, I doubt that. I'm still kind of geeking out that you met Frank Zappa. That's idol of mine beyond. But You have anything left for the good of the order there, Alana?
No, I think we covered a lot. You know,
Alana. I said
Alana
it
Banana.
wrong. Yes.
Alana Banana.
Uh,
I have one of those names that's mispronounced all the time.
I
so
bet.
Between
And
that,
I'm really trying not
the last name.
to. Joos. Yes. So anywhere they can contact you, or any ideas or anything?
Well, I used to have websites I would give out, but I've been so busy that I kind of haven't kept things up. And
Okay.
since COVID, I haven't been very motivated to reinvent myself.
Gotcha.
But you can get a hold of me through Wade.
Yep, find me. I'll
Yeah.
definitely get you in touch. I can
Yeah,
definitely do that.
I mean, I would really love to be able to play drums in a really good band, but because I've played with some of LA's finest musicians, I'm pretty picky. So, I mean, you know what I mean? So it's like I only want to be in a group if it's really good.
Gotcha.
And I'm sure everybody thinks they're really good, but sometimes people think they're really good and they're really not very good.
I wouldn't know what you mean. Not at all. But yes, if I can think of a few groups that maybe I'll have to drop your name for you at them. See if they reach out at all and all of the fun stuff.
Cool.
But here you go. You can find us all from the Ticky Tacks up into the Instagrams, everything else on Uptown Tonight Podcast. Or else you can find us at Uptown Band Fargo. We were in Uptown. We were a band. We're from Fargo.com. That'll give you everything about the band and or the podcast and everything in between on all that. So, Hannah.
Thank you, Wade.
Yes, thank you for being on. You got to
Appreciate it.
remember, if your drummer's got more charisma than your front man, band may be in trouble. That's why my band's doing just fine. So until next time.